Greetings. The following channel and presentation from James Tyberonn is based on Metatronic and on the Edgar Cayce Atlantis readings, and will begin this brief introduction. The specific topic of James Tyberonn's Metatronic channel is focused on the subject of what is termed Phi Vogel Crystals. This is most fascinating information. Edgar Cayce readings clearly state that the benevolent and spiritual law of one, Atlanteans used precision-cut facet, clear quartz crystals to communicate with the divine, and to interface with other worlds, as well as to travel out of body, using crystals to facilitate astral, multidimensional travel. Phi Vogel crystals are not shelf crystals, and are not meant for everyone, but are of astonishing benefit for seekers and souls on the path of enlightenment. Phi crystals are utterly extraordinary crystalline precision instruments of advanced Atlantean technology and spiritual science. Phi Vogel crystals, of optical grade, earth-mined quartz, offer the following attributes to those of high light quotient. True, genuine, Phi crystals offer the following benefits: stimulation of the brain and pineal, enhancement of psychic ability. Phi crystals provide amplification of high-frequency thought and noble intent, enabling facilitated, expedited manifestation of intent and focal thought. Phi crystals enable creation of living thought forms, embellish clear channeling, contact with divine source and ascended masters, clear and repel negativity, and offer powerful protection to the user. And Phi Vogel crystals enable truly astonishing healing. Phi crystals combine human chi energy with coherent light, and produce living vital, coherent light energy beams, and energy transfer. In Atlantis, Phi crystals were of many varieties and generations. They were only used by the advanced initiates of the ancient mystery schools, and the Atla crystal scientist priests and priestesses, for ceremony, visioning, astral travel, and for direct communication with God's source, and interface with benevolent extraterrestrials of other worlds and higher realms. James's fascinating Metatronic channel is followed by a direct message from James, explaining how to activate, use and care for Phi Vogel crystals. Stay tuned for James Tyberonn's Metatronic channel and presentation. All copyrights duly reserved to www.earth-keeper.com, 2017. Thank you and enjoy. Namaste.
Alchemy and Physics of Phi Crystals, Crystalline Keys of the Law of One, Omnipotent Potential of Coherent Wave Amplification. Archangel Metatron via James Tyberonn. Greetings! I am Metatron, Lord of Light. We once and always greet you warmly and lovingly in this eternal moment of now. Indeed, we sense each of you personally at the specific time in which your eyes read these words. It has been said that humans are a species with amnesia, and this is quite accurate in present application. In the sad demise of Atlantis, the human populace was vastly reduced in numbers as a result of the great floods that occurred in the rapid melting of the ice sheets, the quaking of the earth, and the resulting massive tsunamis. The highly technical civilization of Atlantis, its grand cities and knowledge, disappeared beneath the waters into the unfathomable silts and sands of time. And while isolated pockets of high civilization persisted for a time, humanity in large devolved and began anew, starting from scratch, as it were. And survival of the species gained a requisite dominance within the alert beta focus, necessary for existence and sustenance in a newly primordial and challenging environment. The masses that once knew arts, sciences, and liberties of expressive pursuit became engrossed in the devolution of basic survival, as the filters of the conscious mind over time removed from the frontal brain the memory of all that passed before. Kings ruled kingdoms. Dictators rose and fell as humanity fell deeply in the density of enduring perpetuation and primal subsistence. And while conditions gradually improved in the slow dance of linear time, there are yet new forms of diversion, hidden mental and attitudinal entrapments that prevent sovereignty within a mindset that measures success according to monetary gain. All that glitters is not gold. In much of the first world of the 21st century, few people have sovereignty. The masses are seduced by media and intoxicated by quantity. Many are enslaved by debt. Governments are becoming corporations based on profit. The common man, the 99%, are employees of corporate governments, not citizens sharing in the commonwealth. Culturally, dreamers are scorned, workers are praised. The balance that allows for both is somewhat skewed in a societal system in which the 99% are taught how to work, but not how to live. Every shift in consciousness must first overcome the constricting limitations of its cultural programming. And if the resistance is deeply ingrained, the shifts may be impaired. Masters, in year 2 of the new Earth, much is changing. The crystalline shift of the Aquarian resonance assists humanity in an awakening to higher dimension, to be able to maintain a greater balance in the requisites of Beta, and the dreaming creatorship of Theta, for indeed, the Earth has expanded purposefully at this time to 12 dimensions. And there are differing sciences, differing physics for each dimension, just as there are different approaches and paths of science and physics available to mankind in his current reality. Man has omitted the divine from science in his mainstream thinking. Science is indeed a sacred aspect of the whole. Mankind in the current streaming epoch has largely ignored sciences that would have led to very different concepts thus far. There are alternative approaches to physics that reveal much more about transport, transmutation, bilocation, and locomotion than your accepted mainstream science understands or wishes to understand. Had the human species gone into certain mental disciplines as thoroughly as it has explored exterior technological laws, your knowledge, means, and resulting understanding of dimensional and crystalline reality aspects would be vastly different and far more efficient in scope than it is now. You have embraced the external and to some degree dismissed the capacities of your internal abilities within divine consciousness. Crystalline Phi stimulates the pineal. Crystalline knowledge is a key part of the emerging new paradigm, although in truth it is an ancient knowledge, forgotten but not new. Now, When mankind decides to devote mainstream study into what is termed the mental science of dimensional and crystalline aspects of transport and bilocation, and indeed it is a science with laws that can be learned, practiced, and fine-tuned, then visitations into parallels and vectors within space-time and intra-realms of higher states of consciousness will become more accessible, less happenstance, and occur by intent. It is time to now expand your focus and to relearn what has been forgotten, to reawaken the conscious theta dreamer. For once mankind learns and masters mental physics, then he will be liberated, vastly liberated from the filtering illusion, the duality camouflage of physical pattern. Indeed, you are just starting to understand how the Merkana crystalline light body, when tuned by mind as the builder into the crystalline field, unlocks this key. This ability is now greatly enhanced as your 144 grid and its networking of crystalline energy completes its unfolding in the new 12D paradigm of the new planet Earth. The crystalline grid will offer great opportunity of advancement to those of you willing to devote focus to this divine science of mental manifestation and what you term astral, or better phrased as higher dimensional travel. It is time to include the divine, to seek theta while maintaining grounding in beta. Both can be harmonized. And in such harmony, you will discover the ability of co-creation within the earth plane. Mind is the builder. Edgar Cayce and the Return of the Law of One. Although humanity as yet largely views Atlantis as an illusionary legend of a long-forgotten and fabled era, it matters not, because Atlantis lingers in defiance of accepted theory. Whether or not mainstream anthropological academia accepts that it was real is something of a moot point, for it remains indelibly imprinted in the unconscious psyche of the human race. It remains so because it was not a myth. Indeed, most of you were there. And that is why throughout your post-deluge history, adepts from Plato to Edgar Cayce have spoken of this monumental epoch and potent era. Such sharings trigger the psyche, for it was an imposing dichotomy of the grand and grandiose, of the magnificent and the terrible. Atlantis was a dichotomy of two factions within its extraordinary technological society, the Law of One of Poseidon and the Sons of Belial of Arion. The former, as we have shared, were highly evolved spiritually. The latter were focused on power and greed. It is not our purpose in this channel to go deeply into the history and fall of Atlantis. This has been shared partially in past channels, and will be soon released in much greater details in the forthcoming book on Atlantis that we are channeling into Tyberonn. But we will tell you that the Law of One and the benevolent extraterrestrials were aware of the de-evolution, the fall. That is precisely why clues and triggers have been left for you in halls of records, sacred sites, crop circles, and channelings, such as the work referenced from clear seers such as Edgar Cayce. It is why the benevolent use of Phi crystalline tools are being brought into availability. They can open the pineal. It is why 2012 brought forth a new era. It is why solar radiation is changing your planet and shifting your DNA. It is why many of the Law of One are returning en masse. It is the sacred promise of the Law of One that this time the crystals will not be misused. And to be clear, as we have previously shared, the misuse of the benevolent crystals was not from the Law of One, but rather that they fell into the hands of the Aryan group through a clever cunning. Reference Metatron channel on the fall of Atlantis in Tyberonn's books Metatron Speaks and Alchemy of Ascension. It was a sad ending, etched into your cellular memory, and even your Bible refers to the terrible and awesome crystal in the book of Exodus. King James, Webster, and English World Translations. Editor insert. Ezekiel chapter 1 verse 22, and the likeness of the firmament upon the heads of the living creatures was the color of the terrible crystal, stretched forth over their heads above. King James and Webster Bible. Your Edgar Cayce spoke of the Atlantean soul group of Poseidon, the law of one, as having achieved the highest level of spiritual harmony ever achieved on the earth plane, higher than any other era of Atlantis, Lemuria, Egypt, Og, Rama, or Greece. The law of one interfaced with the Arcturians, Syrians, Pleiadians, and the Felidae and Cetaceans of Sirius B. The Poseidons were the golden race, the pure of heart, of spiritual oneness. They were of bronze skin and golden wiry hair. They were tall beings, between 10 and 12 feet in height. They composed the Atla Ra, the scientist priestess and priest. They used crystals to travel terrestrially and extraterrestrially through mentally manifested bilocation in Merkana bioplasmic form. And as Edgar Cayce shared, crystals in various forms and generations were used to communicate with the infinite and travel out of body. Editor insert of Edgar Cayce reading. The great Atlantean crystal was originally in the form of a six-sided figure in which the light appeared as the means of communication between infinity and the finite, or the means whereby there were communications with those divine forces from the outside of the universe. And so these crystals were used to communicate outside the body into the realm of the saints. The form of the crystal had many generations and were changed in time to more complex forms and designed and fitted to specific purpose. Edgar Cayce. Tools of Mastery. Masters, crystals are living allies, tools of mastery, and they are here to assist you. The knowledge and utilization of Phi crystals, and indeed properties and attributes of all crystalline forms, provide an intricate and beneficial tool for accelerated and enhanced aperture of higher self of divine realms. These offer abilities to communicate with the infinite into the vast inner and outer worlds of the celestial. They are indeed an offering aspect of the law of one into the new crystalline ascension of the new earth in the energy of the 144 crystalline grid for 2014 and beyond. Question from James Tyberonn. Can you speak about Phi Vogel crystals, Phi cut crystals, and the man who invented them, Marcel Vogel? Archangel Metatron. Indeed. The inventor of these, of course, was an astute crystal master from the Atla Ra, the scientist priests of Atlantis. You, among many others of the law of one Atla Ra, knew him and worked extensively with crystal technology in the sacred way. This is why many of you recognize these crystals and understand their purpose and potency. However, he did not truly invent them. Rather, did he channel the knowledge of same, which coexists within multidimensionality. In truth, most of that which you consider to be invented is not new technology. Rather, is it pulled from both the future and from the advanced technical knowledge of the past. And we will also add that there are many other versions of Phi crystals that have come forward after Marcel Vogel's transition, and more yet to come. Crystal knowledge is essential to the coming age of the quantum crystalline field. speaking to James Tyberonn. You and many others of the Law of One priesthood were involved intricately in this lost science. It is why so many are now fascinated with not only the quartz variety, but all aspects of the mineral kingdom. Yet be aware that the crystalline field is equally valid in terms of its frequential relationship to consciousness, to thought, to action, and to manifesting creation. You see, crystalline is not only the highest aspect of the mineral kingdom, but indeed a frequency that the ascended earth has entered and the ascending human will move into according to each individual's light quotient. So we wish to emphatically repeat that the frequency, the vibration of that termed as crystalline, exists etherically as well as being imbued within crystalline minerals. Now, the Law of One master you call Marcel Vogel correctly surmised that the energy signature of quartz was very similar to that of pure water, and that as the human body is over 70% water, the quartz could be used to charge and influence both. Phi crystals can be used to powerfully structure water, and benevolent intent can be imbued into the crystals of structured water. Crystals cut into sacred Phi angles are capable of many things, most of which are beyond the current understanding of the masses of humankind within polarity consciousness. You see, these crystals exist above the spectrum of your visible light, well into the perceptual divisions of crystalline light within X-ray and ultraviolet. In so doing, they exist in the eternal void, or now, beyond time sequence. As such, they are time gates and can offer glimpses of realities both in your perceived past and future. As simply as I can explain it, your consciousness within planetary duality and flashing continuum sequence is divided into linear time and probability parallel areas. The now moment in the higher ultraviolet field is a crystalline unit which contains universal truth. When you are able to access that unit, you achieve the ability to expand that truth and gain the control of your reality. Phi crystals, then, are the fabled philosopher's stone that assist your consciousness into the unit of the crystalline alchemical moment of now. Alchemy has always made extensive use of analogy, symbolism, and so forth to relate transformational concepts to esoteric ones. In some epochs and contexts, these metaphysical aspects came to predominate, and the myriad transformational processes were then viewed as symbols of spiritual processes. In your Hermetic view of alchemy, the philosopher's stone represented the tangible crystallization and morphic transmutation of a subtle substance into something greater. This, then, is the sacred metaphor for the inner potential of the spirit and reason to evolve from a lower state of imperfection into a higher state of enlightenment and perfection. Phi crystals are the tool of the Merkana that takes one to the alchemy journey. They are one of the paths of the philosopher's stone, the crystalline journey into coherent energy through Phi. The black hole within quartz. Now, there are some interesting aspects related to certain crystalline forms that are only beginning to be understood by your scientists. Marcel Vogel correctly theorized that there were missing silicon atoms in the quartz molecule, in what is now termed the lattice defect theory. There are, in fact, holes that occur in the tetrahedronal pyramid of the quartz molecule. The missing component is silicon, and we tell you that space retains an energetic form that is capable of receiving and amplifying human intent. It is a black hole of sorts that is a void space capable of receiving human energetic intent. That is why quartz and many other crystalline gems are capable of being programmed. And, dear ones, this is an important aspect of why these are particularly beneficial to you. Phi crystals, by their sacred geometric construct, emit a unique energy, a crystalline light. They change the vibration that affects the able user. They change the frequencies at which humanity's minds operate. Phi crystals receive human intent, and indeed, intent creates an energy that is synergized and transformed through crystalline light. And that embellished energy is capable of manifestation and reaches the heavens and earth, the inner and outer dimensions, you see. The variations of Phi crystals are compatible with humanity. Some of them are compatible with the earth, some with the elemental and emotional worlds, and others with the celestial realms. Some create frequencies that unlock ancient encodements, even as some natural crystals do. Certain Phis have past and future sequencing keys that open time and dimensional gates, but these are less understood in the present, and many of these remain unutilized and locked. This knowledge is now available to the savant and focused adept. It will surface and offer itself as the individual user becomes capable of understanding the responsible usage of same. Now, your gemologists and crystallographers are aware that certain crystalline gems, including topaz, tourmaline, and especially quartz, have a quality called Piezo Electricity. This is the quite unique ability within the living crystal to generate electricity under specific polarized conditions. Crystalline solids have a very regular atomic molecular structure. That is, the local positions of molecules with respect to each other are repeated at the atomic scale. These arrangements of crystal structures serve many purposes and, in essence, form the life force structure of the crystal entity. As with all life, there is an auric field, and indeed a consciousness within the crystals. That of quartz offers many functionalities that make it especially beneficial to mankind. Yet, in truth, all crystalline structures offer myriad benefits. One of the primary attributes of quartz crystals is that these living mineral forms can receive, store, recover, and transmit information. Your mainstream academics have long recognized the ability of crystals to transmit energy waves. Your early radios used crystal transmitters, and crystal or silicon technology is the basis of your computers. The purpose of using a Phi crystal is to amplify and cohere the thought and energy that you wish to direct. Amplification is more readily understood, but coherence is a somewhat more difficult concept for you in physics or Metatronic terms. Coherence is a crystalline aspect of light energy waves, with each individual wave in intelligent, ordered harmony with every other one. At present, your laser light is the most prominent example of perfectly coherent light. All the photons emitted by a laser have the same frequency and are in harmonic crystalline phase in quantum states. Phi crystals stimulate the pineal. Phi crystals are a sacred technology of the law of one that is resurfacing in the ascending expansion of the Earth into the crystalline dimensions. Indeed, from the 12-12-12 forward, you have seen a great and greater facility of the benevolent use of these precision tools, for they are truly amplifiers of high frequency and can be benevolently used in the manifestation of pure thought into reality, as well as the movement into greater awareness of the multidimensional self. Phi crystals are tools of theta consciousness. They can be used in theta state for formation of thought forms, for communication with the divine, for healing, and for higher dimensional and past-future life vision. How does this work? Phi crystals, when used in meditations achieving a theta state, form standing waves that excite the brain in such a way that neurons are released and the pineal is stimulated and opened. The key is to reach the theta stage. There are numerous meditative teachings that offer excellent guidance into meditation techniques, and this will be reviewed later in this channel. Coherent photonic thought. A Phi crystal can be used to form a three-way marriage as an emulsification of thought, geometry, and coherent light. The faceting on optical quality quartz collates light and highly condenses it. The precise 51-degree angle, then, facilitates the opening of the dimensional fields and thus multi-dimensionality above the sequential pulsing of linear time occurs. And it is through this multidimensionality that a consistency of thought intent is enabled and thus infinitely more highly charged. Phi crystals then fill in the inertia gap, overcoming the flashing aspect of consciousness. It is precisely because certain forms and patterns placed into optical qualities of faceted quartz that they are more lucidly multidimensional. That is, bridge the veils between 3D into higher realms. Phi crystals assist in filling what may be termed as inertia gaps in the thought process within linear time. The Phi crystal expands the thought into all other spokes and epochs of time and within other systems of reality, and allows for more energy to manifest the thought form into experiential reality in 3D. This, then, is the means and manner in which creation is enhanced. Your consciousness in simultaneous time flashes between all of your earthly sojourns. It is like a beam of light in the center of a wheel, spotlighting in a circular motion all of the other spokes or lifetimes. Individual sojournal moments of cognizance occurs only when the light of awareness shines on that particular lifetime. Lifetime moments seem sequential because there is no cognizant awareness when the light is not on you. But there are indeed gaps of dormancy that you are unaware of in the flashing nature of earth plane consciousness. Phi crystals are precision instruments. They are not for everyone. They are not shelf crystals, nor do they serve the mere curiosity of those who obtain them as vanities or novelties. They call to those who are ready. They offer themselves to those who are responsibly prepared to devote serious focal study and attention to their profound use and divine mysteries. These are sentient forms of divinely intelligent consciousness whose sacred geometric angles unlock dimensional gates that allow the prepared seeker to dance with creative light force and source. Consciousness in the 3D University of Earth is as an ocean that you can walk upon, but the mastery of conscious life requires participation, and it is not a spectator sport. Phi crystals offer extreme advancement to those with sufficient light quotient to activate in synergy with the matrix of the cosmos. These are incredible tools. Coded light. Phi crystals are capable of forming and emitting an extraordinary and unique blend of intent-coded light in perfect, coherent union. This may not be easy for you to grasp, but it is an important axiom, a key aspect of a crystalline paradigm of the new Earth, within the energies of the 144 grid and quantum crystalline field. Coherency not only enhances manifestation of appropriate intent, it is an amplifier for the inertia of thought, you see? When the high intellect is used properly, it thinks of a goal and automatically sets the body in motion toward it, and automatically arouses the other levels of communication unknown to it, so that all forces work together toward the achievement. When this is applied to the amplification attributes of a Phi crystal, indeed, a synergy of coherence occurs with remarkable results. A ripple force or a manifestation torus wave effect then occurs in the ethers, or what may be termed as the torsion field. So understand that this is not hocus pocus, not a New Age fad. Rather, the use of coherent crystalline energy is a highly technological science that other societies of your past and future understand and utilize. The technologies available around Quartz have been utilized in the silicon aspects in your computer microchip technologies, communication devices, and even your timekeeping apparatus. Yet, there is much more to be discovered in your current time, for the attributes of Quartz have many possibilities in terms of myriad utility. These are tools, benevolent allies. The use of Phi crystals, precisely angled and faceted, offer extremely advanced opportunities in terms of discovering inner worlds, multi-dimensional facets of the crystalline realms, in which lies your true essence. The ability of Phi crystals to merge coherently with thought manifestation in theta field can indeed enrich the life of the wise user. We are ready for your questions. Question from James Tyberonn. Can you describe and explain the various uses, attributes, and benefits of Phi crystals? Archangel Metatron. Indeed. First, we will say that the Phi crystals in the Vogel format are, in truth, an Atlantean Arcturian technology that utilizes specific base and angles to activate, vastly refine, and greatly amplify the sentient characteristics of the quartz itself. While you use the name Vogel as an all-covering term to include such crystals, it is important to note that his, Vogel's, work on the Earth plane in the present time was only the beginning. There are many different kinds of benevolent frequencies available with Phi crystals, and of very different formats of resonant vibration, not what you would find in your naturally formed quartz. The Atlanteans and Arcturian masters developed and understood the vast and complex Phi technology of crystals. Indeed, some of the Arcturian Atlantean construct crystals, placed by them in key nodes on the planet, were intricately designed to emit Phi frequencies, and certain of these are reawakening now. However, those formed naturally in time in the Earth do not have that same refined vibration, you see. So it is the Phi, the golden angles and sacred lines that create the revelation of the pulsing crystalline energy, activating and merging with the quantum crystalline field to revere that which is holy, to reveal the highest symbol, the highest vibration of those which are the deity energies of crystalline light from the sun and the great central sun. So the element of golden Phi, then, originally has come from the Syrian sun, and here it has founded itself upon the earth. And where these omnipotent Phi Arcturian crystals are present, true, deep, and wise vibrations are found also. Natural quartz formations generally do not hold such a high frequency and are neither Phi in resonance angles or of gold alloy. Some do, but not most. Those crystals of the gold silicate alloys were originally used in both the crystal skulls and the master Atlantean crystals that carry the highest field. Sparse pockets of these in natural form do exist in Brazil, Tibet, and Arkansas, deep below the surface, but these are very few and have not been truly accessed. The greater quantity and most potent of these are in Arkansas, within and below what is termed the crystal vortex, and in Brazil, in Minas Gerais and Bahia. Natural quartz crystals are hexagonal, forming the star tetrahedron, and release a spiraled Phi energy that is emitted most powerfully through the point. Because few naturally formed specimens are perfectly symmetrical, the Arcturian and Atlantean scientist priests of the Atla Ra developed a means of precise cutting of quartz in a double terminated format with equally symmetrical faceting to allow the universal life force to be emitted through the crystal. In so doing, they realized that the Chi energy from the human biology can be transferred into the crystal and better refined and spiraled to a focal precise position on the upper point. The base angle was determined to most fluidly receive and refine Chi energy with higher dimensional Phi energy when faceted to the angle of 51 degrees and 51 minutes, which is the angle of the quad pyramidal octahedron. It is the sacred angle that transmutes celestial energy into the biomineral sphere of the primary polar Earth plane. It is the Thothean Metatronic angle used in your Great Pyramid. Some pyramid academics refer to this angle and measure it as 51.8 degrees. In fact, it is 51 degrees, 51 minutes, and 51 seconds. Do you see the mastery in connecting the octahedron as such to as above, so below? It connects both worlds, dear ones, and indeed is divine in its sacred resonance. There are other precise angles that can be used for specific purposes, both on the base and tip, that have not as yet been rediscovered, but this will be given in the appropriate timing. In the now, the 51-51-51 degree angle is most beneficial for the awakening of mankind to his initial phase of true self-realization. The geometrics draw a precise sacred energy field to it. It draws the human field to it as well, you see. The one you refer to as Marcel Vogel, Chiron, recognized the synergy between crystals and water. The Phis create a synergy that fits quite nicely to that which blends water and light, the two alchemical elements, you see. The blend of the two, one that both hardens and softens. It softens the soul, it strengthens the spirit, you see. Now, all Phi cut Vogel crystals have 7 common primary properties that occur within them. Natural quartz crystals contain some of these properties, but these are greatly refined and amplified in the Phi cut units. You see, because natural uncut quartz is naturally hexagonal, 6-sided, the formation in nature occurs in random angles and form in somewhat irregular formats. Very rarely are natural formations of quartz crystal double terminated or in a sufficiently cylindrical construct to permit the energy flow and meld to occur in coherency. While all quartz crystals have, generally speaking, the below attributes, they only rarely are correctly formed for coherent flow. The 7 generalized attributes of transparent natural quartz. They amplify energies, enable focus, receive and store data, transform or refine light wave frequencies, transfer thought energetics, merge frequential energies, and emit a frequential field. Again, what is not listed above is coherency. So it is the precision faceted fashioning and precise base tip angling that is absolutely requisite for Phi crystals to enable the coherency that differentiates and defines them. Each opens a unique stance, stances that stack upon one another yet do not merge. Do you understand? Portals are utilized from different perspectives. There are many realities from which to choose, and there are many dimensions to explore. Densities within dimensions offer even more variety and infinite ways in which to explore and experience life. Portals are opportunities to experience yourself as beyond your everyday self. They activate expansion within and without, and allow you to choose a reality rather than to have one chosen for you. Experiences beyond the third dimension are best accomplished when desire, creativity, active intelligence, and participation are all present. These conscious transformational experiences are available and accessible by you, but remember that they are possibilities, not requirements. They are not prerequisites that you must accomplish on your way here or there. They cannot gain you entry or re-entry to that which has always resided within. But indeed, they can assist you in experiencing these if and only if your energies are of a specific level of attunement. Just because one goes to the energy field of a portal or time gate does not ensure that one will frequentially experience either. Is this understood? The light quotient of the seeker must be of a high enough level to allow the merging and to afford the opportunity of such. As you humans are fond of saying, you must learn to walk before you can run. These are tools, and potent ones, in the hands of those seekers on the path who are ready. We will add that all modalities of true Phi crystals, especially the Dream Phi and Vogel Phi, and there are indeed other cuts that have not emerged, are powerful instruments that operate in higher as well as infrared, below visible, frequencies of light and multidimensionality. Indeed, many of you will instantly recognize them. Those of you who have used these master healing crystals in past Atlantean sojourns will be immediately drawn to them and have an innate understanding of their capabilities. These tools, however, require study, require interaction. They are not ready to use per se. There must be the appropriate and deliberate effort to communicate, integrate, and synergize with the living consciousness of each Phi unit. And this effort is in the vibration of high intent, of the desire for growth within love and healing with compassion. Phi crystals require a suitable time for activation, integration, and charging. The energy of the user must be harmonically integrated into the consciousness of the Phi crystal. They must then be programmed with intent. One cannot achieve the desired results without taking the initial steps of melding beforehand. And a key part of the pre-step is having sufficient knowledge as well as compassion, light quotient, to be able to raise a frequency high enough to enter their resonant field. They cannot and should not be used for any purpose other than the highest good. They will not function in any intent or thought other than the highest good. Question from James Tyberonn. Minerals, gems, and Phi crystals are often expensive and seemingly not available to all. Why is that? And are these necessary tools? Archangel Metatron. First of all, Phi crystals, gems, minerals, and noble metals are in truth quite available to anyone that seeks them, to anyone that would draw them to self with appropriate intent and sufficient light quotient. Phi crystals, as we have said, are not meant for everyone, rather to those ready to apply the highest purpose in their usage. They are thought amplifiers, you see. Gems are indeed available to all, and indeed fortify the aura, balance the chakras, and indeed in doing such can extend life force, life potency, and longevity. However, to draw them to you harmonically, one must recognize first that the mineral kingdom is alive and sentient in all its myriad varieties of expression. Within the mineral kingdom, there is indeed the spark of divinity, of divine consciousness, that is quite equally aware in certain aspects, as is humankind. This is a fact that is as yet unrecognized by most of humanity, yet it is quite true. It is only the mentality of lack and the non-recognition of the crystalline and mineral kingdom as being sentient that keeps anyone from manifesting these. Your societies and cultural systems spend unquestioned amounts of energy or money in the acquisition of what may be termed luxury items and excessive amounts on dress clothing, dwellings, and vehicles. Yet they do not recognize that energy exchanged for certain forms of the mineral kingdom offer them great advantages in health, consciousness, and manifestation amplification. Certain of your civilizations recognize the mineral kingdom as being sentient, and as a result of that key acknowledgement, they were able to communicate and interact with the mineral and crystalline beings. Accordingly, the mineral kingdom offered itself and made itself readily and bountifully available to mankind. And, dear ones, we tell you that the sentient mineral kingdom responded to their desire, to their acknowledgement, to their call, and made itself available to that call, to that seeking. Indeed, it is an example of the law of attraction. The same law is valid today in your present. Even though you do not generally go to the fields and valleys to find your minerals, you are still very capable of sending out the acknowledgement to the mineral kingdom and manifest to attract to you what you need, what you desire to assist you. The mineral itself, the sentience of the mineral once acknowledged, will indeed make itself available to you. That is quite true. Believe it. The paradox is that if you do not believe it, indeed, that is the reality you will manifest. If you do not recognize the mineral kingdom is alive and sentient, then you will not be acknowledging its sentience. And acknowledgement, belief, is essential, you see. Unfortunately, the mass of humanity views gems and precious metals as simply decorative jewelry, vanities, and investments. Therefore, they are viewed by many as expensive embellishments. Those who are aware of their true nature, purpose, and energy benefits then understand that they can and do enhance physical health, and that they calibrate and generate higher frequency energy fields that can offer myriad advantages to those that understand them as such. So as to your question, are gems, metals, and crystalline forms necessary? We will answer in this way. Your cars, trains, and planes are not truly necessary. You can walk, and if you are an extraordinary master, you can astrally bilocate. But in the interim, the tools you have manifested make transport a lot easier. Some humans on the spiritual path remain limited by their mentality of lack. This is manifested in both a fear of poverty and in the belief that abundance is an aspect and indulgence of materialism. Both are false beliefs that do not serve you. Abundance offers itself and is available to all. The paradox is that you must believe that abundance is not only available, but is equally a path of spirit. Once the laws of manifestation are realized, masters, you can create and acquire what you desire. Only be sure it serves your greatest good. So indeed, these tools, these living crystalline forms, are available to those that are aware, and the truth, whether you accept it or not, is that the crystalline forms are energy generators, frequency portals, and resonant shields that offer myriad benefits. James Tyberonn question to Metatron. Please explain the proper manner of caring for, charging, and programming a Phi crystal. Archangel Metatron. The methodology you have shared, speaking to James Tyberonn, is available to all and is the accurate modality, so we will accordingly not delve too deeply into information that is accurate and already easily available to you. We have described in the above discourse the requisite belief and importance of recognizing that all crystalline forms have sentient consciousness. Initial synergy and communication with the crystal is achieved primarily through transferal of the frequency of love into the crystalline form and asking for its conscious assistance. This could be done daily with meditation and the use of deep breathing exercises to raise the vibration of the user. When the vibrational frequency of the theta wave is achieved, imbue the crystalline form through visualization. Imagine a beam of love from the heart chakra directly into the crystalline being. When a return flow of love is felt, the synergy is achieved. In many cases, there will be an electrical tingling sensation felt in the arms of the user that flows upward into the heart. The actual sensation may vary with the user. For some, it may be simply a sense of knowing. Once synergy is established, the infinity breath exercise should be employed in meditation, whilst holding the crystal in order to establish intent or programming. Once deep breathing takes one into the theta state, the crystal will signal when the field is appropriate for receival of intent. At this point, the user should lightly stroke the body of the Phi crystal with the fingertips to charge the Phi while sending the intent of the particular usage. Transfer the visualization of what is requested. Whether this is to assist in multidimensional awareness, self-purification, protection, or healing for self and others, the specific intent should be clear and imbued into the Phi. The process of healing, the extraction of obstacles or disease, is done only with the permission of the one receiving the healing. The Phi is then held with the female base, 51 degree, in the palm of the primary hand of the user and circulated over the area of focus. For Vogel Phi crystals, the circulation should be counterclockwise. For dream Phis, clockwise. Visualize and speak the desired result. Continue this process until a clear response is received that the task has achieved maximum energy for the session. To seal the opening upon completion, circulate the opposite direction until the field is closed. Usually 3 to 5 circulations will reseal the field. The most effective method of cleansing a Phi is through vigorous, brief shaking in the hand while visualizing intent of removing unwanted energies and through the use of white sage smudge. Running water can also complete this process, but care should be taken to ensure the temperature of the water is within 10 degrees of the ambient temperature of the crystal. Rapid contraction or expansion due to great temperature variation can create inclusion cracking in the quartz structure. Using a Phi crystal for manifestation. Phi crystals, when used in meditations that reach and achieves theta state, can form standing waves that excite the brain in such a way that neurons are released and the pineal is stimulated and opened. The key is to reach the theta stage. There are numerous meditative teachings that offer excellent guidance into meditation techniques. Modalities. All modalities of true Phi crystals, the rounded Vogel Phi, Dream Phi, and faceted Dream Vogel Phi, and there are indeed other cuts that have not emerged, are powerful instruments that operate in higher spectra as well as infrared, below visible, frequencies of light and multidimensionality. Indeed, many of you will instantly recognize them. Those of you who have used these master healing crystals in past Atlantean sojourns will be immediately drawn to them and have an innate understanding of their capabilities. These tools, however, require study, require interaction. They are not ready to use per se. There must be the appropriate and deliberate effort to communicate, integrate, and synergize with the living consciousness of each Phi unit. And this effort is in the vibration of high intent, of the desire for growth within love and healing with compassion. Phi crystals require a suitable time for activation, integration, and charging. They must then be programmed with high intent. One cannot achieve the desired results without taking the initial steps of melding beforehand. And a key part of the pre-step is having sufficient knowledge as well as sufficient light quotient to be able to raise one's frequency high enough to enter their resonant field. We can say that the combination of the two succinct energy models combine two wholes and form a greater wholeness. Combining then the inner and outer, the conscious and subconscious, the expressed and unexpressed, that felt and that seen. For healers working in the shamanic tradition, Phi dream crystals are an especially beneficial tool, a refinement for extraction work. Dream Phis emit a light field resonance that removes negative energies, attachments, and obstacles from the auric field, emotional body, and indeed the physical body. All Phi crystals take the cleansing of your white sage smudging to the level of light and complete the purification in that photonic tonal context. These crystals, once attuned, are very effective in repelling untoward or negative thought form energy. The Phi interacts in the interior worlds of thought, worlds devoid of space, worlds of dream and vision, of imagination and parallel. These dimensions exist and are fully valid in their aspect. Equally, there are aspects of you that would rejoin with other aspects of you, and in the process become greater. If you add a drop of water to a glass, it will rejoin with itself and to the ocean again. So always, when there are grander aspects of your divine beingness, you will rejoin with them, and you will change, expand in the process. It is appropriate. It is the expansive nature of your purpose and paradigm. Closing. Phi crystals are portals that operate symbiotically via the pineal. Each Phi offers to open a unique stance, stances that stack upon one another yet do not merge. Do you understand? Phi portals are utilized from different perspectives. There are many realities from which to choose, and there are many dimensions to explore. Densities within dimensions offer even more variety and infinite ways in which to explore and experience life. Portals are opportunities to experience self in aspects beyond your everyday self. They activate expansion within and without and allow you to choose a reality rather than to have one chosen for you. Experiences beyond the third dimension are best accomplished when desire, creativity, active intelligence, and participation are all present. These conscious, transformational experiences are available and accessible by you, but remember that they are possibilities, not requirements. They are not prerequisites that you must accomplish on your way here or there. They cannot gain you entry or re-entry to that which has always resided within, but indeed they can assist you in experiencing these if and only if your energies are of a specific level of attunement, an attunement of purity and focal intent. Just because one goes to the energy field of a portal or time gate does not ensure that one will frequently experience either. Is this understood? The light quotient of the seeker must be of a high enough level to allow the merging and to afford the opportunity of such. As you humans are fond of saying, you must learn to walk before you can run. These are tools and potent ones in the hands of those seekers on the path who are ready. They cannot and should not be used for any purpose other than the highest good. They will not function in any intent or thought other than the highest good. For indeed, as is the oath and sacred promise of the law of one, the crystals will never again be misused. I am Metatron, and I share with you these truths. You are beloved, and so it is, and it is so.
In the final 10 minutes of this video, James Tyberonn offers instructional advice on how to care for, activate and use Phi Vogel crystals for healing, thought projection, astral travel, connecting to guides and channeling.
The following is a brief insertion from James Tyberonn. Much of the processes described were Metatron guided and inspired. Other portions were learned directly by the author through experiences of working with crystals for over 40 years. James Tyberonn is a geologist and gemologist, and crystal expert and intuitive. About Phi Crystals, written by James Tyberonn. Caring for Phi Vogels. Treat your Phi Vogel with great attention and care. Do's and don'ts. 1. Do spend time with your Phi crystal. In order to activate it, you must insert your love and energy into the crystal. 2. Never touch the front forward tip. It is very fragile. Quartz has a very high fracture gradient and cleavage potential. 3. Do not place or immerse your Phi crystal in water to clear it. If the water is of a significantly different temperature than the crystal, either colder or warmer, it can cause either rapid contraction or expansion of the quartz and result in fissure cracking, creating inclusions. 4. Do not clear Phi crystals with salts or salt water. 5. Do not use crystal bowls or Tibetan bowls near the quartz. The high-pitched sounds can induce cracking. 6. The best way to clear the Phi crystal is by soul breathing. Hold the crystal firmly, shake it vigorously. Take a deep breath and blow energetically onto the crystal 3 times, with the intent of clearing. 7. Optionally, the Phi crystal can be cleared by smudging with white sage. Circle the crystal 3 times with the sage smoke. 8. As with all personal crystals, be very discerning of allowing others to handle them. You may wish to reserve use of the Phi crystal for yourself only. Anytime another touches it, their energy can be absorbed onto the crystal. Phi crystal activation process. Initially stroke the crystal with the fingers, and upshift your vibration with the infinity breath for about 5 minutes. Infinity breathing is done by an inhalation of 8 counts and an exhalation with 8 counts, with both inhale and exhale all through the nasal passage. After 5 minutes, then vocally tone the Om sound. As you tone, visually open every chakra, beginning with the crown, down to the root, and then back up to the heart. It is important to be in a higher state when working with Phi Vogels. Send love directly from the heart chakra and visualize it filling the crystal with emerald green light. Ask the crystal to acknowledge you and sense the response. My trigger is usually a warming of the crystal. It will feel warm in my hands. When I am working with a new Phi Vogel, and I have a set of 12, the warming can initially take up to 30 minutes or more. Once I am merged into the third meld with the crystal, it takes only a few minutes, sometimes just seconds. The second trigger that the crystal is ready is usually as an energy pulse from the crystal that you will recognize as an energy dynamic, or it may feel as a tingling sensation running up the arm into the spine and heart, or as simply a mental knowing or deep intuitive sense or signal of understanding, a responsive flash to you from the sentience of the crystal. This will vary with each person. Spend at least 3 weeks doing this for a period of not less than 20 to 30 minutes per day, or until the energy reaction is sent back to you and recognized. Visualize and build a field of green energy that encompasses your auric field. In my personal experience, I often see swirling geometric shapes, with eyes closed when the Phi crystal has triggered to the pineal to open. At this point, the experience can take one of several paths. The experience can be one of a visual soiree into past or future lives, one of encountering teachers, or one of specific tasks such as healing or creating a benevolent thought form. Creating healing thought forms. And so, as mentioned, the other color variances for me are usually defined by my use of the session, meaning that if I am using one of my Vogels to create a manifestation thought form, I will sort of consciously follow a procedure guided to me intuitively to form a golden bubble and place in that bubble a scripted message of a few words to initiate the imagery. For example, if I am focusing on offering a healing, I will see the words highest good, highest healing floating inside a golden sphere, bubble. Then I will see the image of the person the healing is intended for inside the sphere. Then I send love and healing through my hands into the base of the crystal and visualize a beam of emerald green light going into the sphere. When it is visually full, which I imagine, then I send the bubble to the receiving party's heart chakra. I always make sure I have the other person's approval before sending this energy, and that is important. I use Phi Vogels for specific goals, being able to get creative energies for my books, channels, etc. When Anne and I led Earth-Keeper pilgrimages, we worked together to visualize the goals and intent of the journey. I should also note, there are also sessions with Phi Vogels that occur when I meditate that I do not consciously direct, and in these there is that trust that what is opening is for one's highest good, led by spirit or higher self. These often take one on journeys to past lives or to other realities, into lucid dream states, or to master teachers. In these I see a totally different type of color, bright colors, and often a deep, intense white light, as if going through a tunnel. And at times you may have to work at remaining lucid, as it's easy to lapse into a sleep state and have a dream that evaporates from conscious mind memory after waking. But by remaining focused, incredible visionary experiences, either glimpses of past, future lives, or interfacing with teachers, can occur. I have met with my Oversoul, Tyberonn of the Pleiades, many times in this way, and also with the benevolent Syrians and Pleiadians, as well as Lord Ganesh. Tyberonn of the Pleiades incarnated into Atlantis and worked with the Law of One Temple crystals for long lifetimes, per the Metatron readings. And much knowledge on crystals is received directly from those lifetimes. It is why, per Metatron, I chose to be born in Arkansas with the quartz crystal fields, and then moved to Brazil after completing my studies at the University of Arkansas. I lived in Brazil for 7 years. Arkansas and Brazil are the largest deposit of quartz crystal on the planet. It is interesting how different cuts of Phi crystals seem to offer differing experiences in the undirected, more spontaneous visions. Keep in mind, these are my experiences and modalities, and these can and will differ somewhat for each diligent seeker. In all sincerity, Phi crystals are remarkable tools of thought amplification and interdimensional access. The great Edgar Cayce provided an interesting series of readings regarding the quartz crystals of the Law of One in Atlantis. The Cayce reading states clearly that the crystals were used to communicate with the infinite, with masters from outside our universe. May you be blessed. Namaste. James Tyberonn.